Hi, I'm Scott Arnold and welcome to Plain Talk. In this episode, it's all about the NBAA BACE convention coming up. So if you're planning on attending, this video is the one for you. Welcome to the CFA Connections Plain Talk series. This is a virtual think tank and discussion platform where we discuss various industry and corporate cabin crew related topics and subject matter. Let's get started. NBAA, which is the National Business Aviation Association, hosts several conferences and events throughout the year. Their biggest event is BACE, which is the Business Aviation Convention and Exhibition, and it's taking place this month in Orlando from October 18th to the 20th. Now, this is the best opportunity for networking and self-marketing yourself in this industry, hands down. As mentioned, it's in Orlando, Florida this year at the Orlando Convention Center. It's 3 days long. It's expected to have around 20,000 or more attendees. There are over 750 exhibitors on the convention floor. They have 50 education sessions and several amazing keynote speakers on the openings of day 1 and on day 2. And there will be over 60 business aircraft on display at the Orlando Executive Airport, where you will be able to tour many of these aircraft at the static display. This is a huge convention and honestly can be quite overwhelming or intimidating for first-time attendees. There is a lot to see and a lot to do, so it's best to have a plan. I've attended this convention dozens of times, and every year, despite how hard I try, I never complete everything on my target list. However, without any planning ahead of time, I would definitely see even less. Therefore, the CFA Connection has you covered. We are going to highlight all of our recommended sessions and social and networking events for you to plan accordingly and get the most out of this convention and all of the networking opportunities available to you. First up, on day 1, Tuesday, October 18th, there is a coffee chat taking place between 7 and 8 a.m. at the Castle Hotel, which is right down the street from the convention center. This is coordinated by the NBAA Flight Attendants Committee, and this is an excellent opportunity to meet fellow attendees, peers, and committee members prior to the opening of the convention. If you're attending BACE alone, you won't be after this meetup. Registration opens that day at 7 a.m. and is open throughout the day. The opening day keynote speakers in the convention center are famed NASCAR legend Dale Earnhardt Jr., and the highly acclaimed astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, two very dynamic speakers. The exhibit floor opens at 10 a.m. and will remain open until 5 p.m. The static display at the Executive Airport is open from 9 to 6. At 10:30, there is a corporate flight attendant and flight technician meet and greet taking place at the NBAA Innovation Zone, which is Space 1295. And this is coordinated by the NBAA Flight Attendants Committee, where you'll have the opportunity to meet and greet the standing committee and intermingle with attendees, lead and flight attendant managers, and peers. This one you should attend. The first recommended education session is How Safe is the Food on Your Flight at 1 o'clock. This is presented by Paula Kraft and John Detloff with the Da Vinci In-Flight Training Institute, two experts on food safety handling. This is in Education Theater 1, which is on the exhibit floor. There's another social and networking event happening with the NBAA Coffee Social at the NBAA booth number 1288. This typically is a very well attended social event and also includes a book signing opportunity with co-authors John and Martha King, writers of the book Lift: How to Start, Run, and Grow Your Own Successful Business. The next recommended session is The Other Side of an Emergency at 2:30. This is presented by Kim Collins, who is the Orlando Airport District Fire Chief. In this session, we will get the perspective of an aviation emergency from the first responders on the ground. This session is in Education Theater 1 on the exhibit floor. And lastly, at 4 o'clock, It's Not What You Said, presented by Dr. Sherry Freisinger and myself with SageEt Solutions. This is also taking place in Education Theater 1. In this session, we will dive deep into the everyday, subtle, intentional, and oftentimes unintentional interactions or behaviors that communicate some sort of bias, also known as microaggressions. Tuesday evening is the Flight Crew Mix and Mingle social networking event. This takes place in the Crystal Ballroom in Castleberry, Florida from 7 to 11 p.m. This is a complimentary CFA social event and registration is required as space is limited. Okay, day 2, Wednesday, October 19th. The exhibit floor is open from 9 to 5 and the aircraft static display is open from 8 to 5. The convention opens up Wednesday with keynote speaker Tammy Jo Schultz, who is a legendary pilot, aviation advocate, and author. There will be additional speakers and presentations during this block time of 9:30 to 11 a.m. The first recommended education session of day 2 is at 1 o'clock, Foundations of a Successful Catering Order. This is presented by Greg Den Herder with Abby's Catering and Martin Henschel with Carlos's Catering. In this session, both international and domestic caterers will talk about catering orders from their perspective and delve into the common mistakes made that could not only cause a catering mishap, but also break a budget. This takes place in meeting room S230AB. That's Sierra 230 Alpha Bravo, which is in the South Hall on the 2nd floor. The Women in Corporate Aviation annual meeting of members, scholarship presentation, and networking event takes place from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Member registration is required to attend this, and it takes place in room N310E. That's November 310 Echo, North Hall, 3rd floor. Next up is, are you a contract employee? Let's discuss compensation, taxes, and insurance at 2:30 p.m. This session is presented by Carl Camps with Air Care International, and they will cover the ins and outs of operating as an independent contractor and setting yourself up as a successful business. They'll discuss the benefits of operating as an LLC, expenses, compensation, and the necessary insurance coverage to protect yourself and your assets. This session is in the same meeting room as the catering session, S230AB, Sierra 230 Alpha Bravo. And lastly, at 4 o'clock we have Tired of Being Tired. This is in meeting room S230GH, Golf Hotel. Learn how common scenarios induce fatigue and the short and long-term effects it has on your team. You'll also learn best practices for minimizing fatigue through planning and operating practices. At the time this was recorded, the presenter was not featured, so check the NBAA app for more details. And that wraps up day 2. And finally, day 3, the last day of the convention, October 20th. The exhibit floor opens at 9 and closes at 3 p.m. This is the shortest day of the entire convention. The static is open from 8 to 3. There's one event on Thursday which may be of interest to some of you. Ask the YoPros Anything at 11 o'clock. This is your chance to ask members of the YoPro Council, the NBAA 40 Under 40 recipients, which a few corporate flight attendants have been awarded, and other business aviation young professionals, anything about their common, non-traditional career paths. This takes place on the exhibit floor at the NBAA Innovation Zone, booth 1295. As mentioned, there are 50 education sessions taking place, and we have only focused on a select few. So there are many more sessions that you may find of interest. There are also numerous social events happening every night. Numerous. These are typically invite-only or require advanced registration. However, if you network well during the convention, you just might gain a few invitations. All of the base information and program schedule links will be included in this video's description. Once again, we highly recommend downloading the NBAA Events app and use this daily as it's constantly updated. This convention can often be like our industry and be ever-changing. So the app is your best navigation tool while attending the convention. I have some additional information here I'm going to read to you so I get it correct. There are also some product demos and presentations occurring at various vendor exhibits, such as Euler Products are demoing their bed systems, Medair will be conducting live calls to their call center, and Air Care International has some events and product presentations planned as well. We will list them in the description along with their booth numbers and update this as we learn of any other presentations taking place. That's it for this episode of Plain Talk. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all at BACE.